cold outside, so I hope you guys are all doing good. But wait a second, I have a friend that just popped in. Hold on a second. Do you hear that? Do you hear that music? Do you hear what's going on? Who's coming in? Who's coming in here? Oh, thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Glad. Debbie Moeller. That's what she gets. Debbie Moeller. Thank you. Thank you. You know what I'm going to do for that, Debbie? We got the wonderful, everybody give him a round of applause, Paul Black. Paul Black. Everybody's happy to see you. Paul, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
You sound good, man. You have a cup of coffee with me?
There's a little bit left in the pot.
For guys don't know Paul Black for the first time, Paul's been a regular on the show. Paul is the original singer, the original songwriter of LA Guns. So everybody give Paul lots of hearts and love. Paul.
Woo-hoo.
Important news. Paul has a vinyl record coming out that first of all, Paul's music is great. But Paul, you got our show copyright. We had to take down your music. We can't play the whole thing. I have to chop it up.
Man.
It's a
Why
sin.
did I copyright the stuff?
You probably got to copyright it, but your music is so good. The last time you've been on here, you were playing acoustic live for the audience. And look, everybody's saying hello to you, Paul. Look at this.
Hello.
You got Debbie, Donnell. Everybody loves you. Look, Reverend Jenny says hello to Debbie, but not you. But it's okay. But we love you. Oh, there. Look, hi, Paul. Look at this. Look, everybody loves look at this. You got people up here. Renee, she's
Hello,
over there.
Everybody. I can't see the messages.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
Because I'm on a phone. Whatever.
Oh, okay. I'll pop it
I'll
up.
read them later.
Okay. Yeah. Renee says hello, Paul and Stefan. All right there.
Hi,
Debbie's laughing already. Yeah.
Hi,
the last
Debbie.
time you've been here, you had your guitar, and for some reason, all the songs I have to chop it up. So when you come on, we can only play like 4 to 5 seconds of each song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a trick. Paul, what you do for the holiday?
I went up to see my mom really quick. Me and my son drove up to El Dorado Hills, California, and we saw the family for a day and then drove right back to LA.
Oh, you did?
And then I came back to Lake Arrowhead.
So are you in Lake Arrowhead? Is that your full-time home, Lake Arrowhead, would you say? Or are you going back and forth?
Yeah, I live here full-time now. I live in a little log cabin up here in the forest. See, there's my forest up there. And look, I got a matching tree house that matches my house. And there's the log cabin house I live in.
Oh, wow.
Can you see that?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But here's my forest.
Could you do landscape? Hold the phone landscape. Let me see how it looks because I'll get it moved. Let's see. Oh, yeah, perfect. Leave it like that. Wow. Hold on. Let me make it big for everybody to see. Show us around.
This is so I got 52 acres of forest back here. It's not. I don't own that back there, but it's there. There's nobody there.
Wow.
There's my little tree house, and here's the house. And I'm actually, yeah.
Wow. No, that's cool. Let's see the tree house. That's cool. What do you have in the tree house?
There's a hammock up there.
Yeah.
And a little deck around the tree house, and there's my stairs, like a drawbridge stair case. And then here's my entertainment deck. When you come down to visit, we'll do our gigs down over there in the corner.
This is beautiful, man.
We'll have everybody gather around. There's my little bear carving right there. And there's the tree fort again. We'll have like an amphitheater. We'll have everybody sit up on the hill. We'll play a concert here.
Totally. I love it.
So my stairs fell apart, so I'm having them rebuilt. They just put these new log stringers in here and new steps. So those are my new stairs. We don't have the rails in yet, but they did here and down this way.
I love the log. It's so awesome. Look at this. This is HGTV stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you mean it fell? Wait, hold on. What do you mean it fell apart? Was it from the rain? What happened?
Well, they were log stringers before, but they were only half logs, and they're supposed to be 3/4 logs. And it just over the years it got dry rot, and the steps were only 3 inches thick. They were live edge steps like these, but they were only 3 inches thick. So they were everything was falling apart, and it was getting unsafe, and the rails were kind of getting unstable. So I had to have them rebuilt eventually. They lasted a couple of years. So
It looks cool without the rails, but you do need the rails at our age. I need to hold on to something. What a
Yeah.
nice place, man, you got there.
It, yeah, I like it up here. It's just like, and there's nobody.
So
You can't really see anybody. It's like all just forest around me.
now let me ask you, are you doing a recording studio in there?
I have that's the one thing I'm lacking. I mean, I do have a recording studio in there, but I made it out of a big walk-in closet I have. So I'm when I go in there play music and record, I'm sharing it with a bunch of clothes and stuff hanging up. So
I mean, you could do
uh,
something with the treehouse, right?
maybe.
Just
Nah, it's a little small.
electricity. It's a little small.
Yeah, for that. If I can't, I want to have a place where I can set up a drum set. I'm thinking about building a place. Maybe the same guys that built these steps.
Can you
I'll have
build
them
on the
build.
property? You could build whatever, right, on that?
Yeah, I could. I could. There's a few places I could expand and probably build something. Well,
Debbie
but
wants to live in a log cabin. See, she says Debbie would like to live in it. Look, Renee says I'm moving in. It's
okay.
actually,
Well,
yeah, beautiful.
so here's the thing. I'm doing real estate like crazy up here. I've sold 37 houses this year, all over the mountains. So if you guys are looking for a mountain cabin, let me know. I'll help you find it.
Wow. Well, I'll put the link in here before. If anybody's looking for any real estate, you got to get Paul Black. So, Paul, the houses are not staying on the market out there, huh?
No, they're pretty crazy. There's low inventory, so people are kind of fighting over the houses.
Because
But I've been
interest
lucky. I've been
rates,
able to find. I just found a really nice one for a client.
really, because
With
interest rates are low right now. So now's the time to cash in.
Yeah, money's free pretty much. So yeah, now that's why everybody wants to buy a house now. Um, but there's a lot of competition too. So when rates come up, maybe there'll be more inventory. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So,
But yeah.
no, I was going to ask you right now. So, right now, do you think the market's going to drop at all? What do you honestly? You're looking. What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think now's a good time to go by. They're saying around here, the agents up here are saying it's going to go up another 16% this year.
Wow, really?
But I mean, eventually, I mean, we've been on a good run, so I think eventually it could dip. But it's not gonna. We're not gonna have a crash like we did in 2008. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, it may dip or level out at least a little bit because it just can't keep on going up. It's got to stop at some point. But I don't
Wow.
think it's going to stop this year because I have too many buyers that want to buy places. I mean, everybody that couldn't get a place in 2021 are still going to be shopping in 2022. So I think at least this year it's still going to climb a bit. But I think it's going to climb still for another year or so.
So, if you're thinking of selling your place, if you bought your place for a low price, like if you bought like 10 years ago, let's say, okay, and now's a good time to also cash out, but then you're also paying high.
Yeah, yeah, if you're thinking about selling a house, now's the time because it's the top of the market for sellers. It's a seller's market, but you got to have a place to go. So, it's okay to sell a second house or a third, but if you're living in your house, why would you sell it? Because you got to move somewhere. And
You got to
it's
move
just,
somewhere, but who wants to live? What happened if you're living in a city like Los Angeles, for example, which is gone? It's not what it was when we were there.
yeah. Well, a
You
lot of
know,
people are moving from Los because, especially with COVID and everything, a lot of people have gone to working from home. So if they're working from home, it's like, why not live where you want to live? And why live in LA if you're,
I know
if you can work from home, just move to the mountains.
you don't
That's
need
what
to
happened
really.
to me.
I mean, at our age now, why do you want to sit in traffic and live the rest of your life in traffic?
Yeah.
And music, you could just do it all online. Everything is going virtual.
Yeah. I started streaming, but I don't really stream anymore that as much, but, because I'm doing it. But actually, what happened, the reason I got into real estate, I've had my license for quite a while, but um, I didn't go into it full time until all the gigs went away. So when COVID came, I think I was probably one of the last working musicians that I knew because I was playing San Antonio Winery downtown
Hmm.
every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that was enough for me. So I was working, but then the health department came and closed that down as well. And then the lady I bought my house from knew I was an agent, so she asked me to start working for her. And I thought maybe I'd be lucky to sell one or two houses this year, but I've sold 37.
37 homes.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you're working with somebody are they just giving you the leads, or you calling it just people just calling you now? What's going on? How are you getting the
Uh,
business?
Both. I'm on a team where they're giving me a bunch of leads, but now I'm getting my own leads as well, and just or just meeting people, or just friends that have that have known me over the years, have wanted to buy places.
Yeah, it is awesome, Maui Swiftish. I mean, you got a wonderful Christmas backyard. You really do, Paul. Let me see it. Look at all the trees behind you. Let me see behind you for a second. I mean, you got the ultimate Christmas place. How about the snow? Do you get a lot of snow up there?
Yeah, the last couple of years have been pretty crazy. But last year in October, it was snowing like crazy. We had like 3 feet of snow. But this year we're already into December, or getting into December, and haven't had any snow yet. So it's a
Oh
dry
man.
year so far.
Man, I'm kind of jealous. I like where you're at, man. Okay, you know what? I got to ask you, Paul, because there's so much to talk about. The real estate thing. We should do, if you can do on the show from time to time. You could be my real estate guy when you do open homes and all that, open houses. I want you to take us with if it's in the morning, or we could pre-record it. We should video them and show them out here, so then we could get people interested in buying stuff.
Okay.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to look at homes. Even when you're not buying, you still want to be like a yenta and look around. It's a fun
Yeah.
thing.
Uh-huh.
Debbie says I need to move to a log cabin. I actually do like a log
Call me,
cabin.
Debbie.
Debbie, that's right. Give him a call. That's right. Everybody. Look, I'm sure they will love it, Debbie. Look, everybody's talking to each
Better
other over here.
better call Paul.
Better. I like that. Better call Paul. You should just put that on your card. Better call Paul. So, real estate now, is it taken away from the music a little bit?
A little bit, but it's okay. I mean, because before I was working really hard as a musician. I was playing like all week long, and weekends and weekdays. I'd gotten to a point where I just had myself booked all the time, and I would do band gigs. I play casinos, I play wineries, I play uh, festivals, or you know street fairs, everything. I'd play and clubs.
Yeah.
So I was playing band gigs, and I'd be doing trios, duos. I had a network of musicians that I played with, and people that would call me in, and I just worked all the time, and it was real physical because I was driving all up and down California. I kind of just stuck to after I got done touring with LA Guns in 2006 and 2007. I just kind of stuck to California, but it's kind of cool because I have a variety of things I do and a variety of musicians I play with, so it's always different. And
Well, you got the best
and
guitar player in town, Joe Dog.
yeah, Joe Dog. I hooked up with Joe Dog. We just been doing a recording. So
For,
probably
for people for people who don't know Joe Dog, the legendary band Dogs D'Amour, they're English band, and they were great. The singer Tyler, kind of like a Charles Bukowski, Rolling Stones songwriter, really raspy voice, great. Always a big fan. I saw Dogs D'Amour and Joe Dog, who's now in Paul's band. They have a band together, but I saw them play with Mother Love Bone before
oh
it was
yeah,
Pearl Jam.
yeah, they toured with Mother Love Bone. Yeah.
and that was and that was I remember seeing that show. It was a place in New York City called Downtown, and the headliners were, I think, Mother Love Bone. Maybe they were Shareco. I think they might have been. It was an equal thing. They might have been both co-headlining. I forgot, but Dogs D'Amour was really popular, and it was probably about 90, 89 around that time, and Mother Love Bone was the band before Pearl Jam. That was pre Pearl
Yeah.
Jam, but without Eddie Vedder, and the singer died of a heroin overdose. And Dogs D'Amour played that show with Electric Angels as the opening band.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a great show. It was a great show.
Yeah, I
Paul, what
bet.
about Paul? I'm gonna get gossip out of you right now because the people love gossip and drama. You know me. LA Guns got a new record out. Have you heard it?
Oh, I didn't even know they had a new record.
what, what do you think? What do you think
I
about
don't
this?
follow that band.
But there's two different LA Guns now. There's a Steve Riley LA Guns,
That's nothing new. There's been 2, 3 LA Guns forever.
and then there's a Phil Lewis and Tracy Guns LA Guns. But to clear the record straight, the first record with the songs, the LA Guns debut record, No Mercy, I think it was.
Yeah, that's my song.
You wrote pretty much that whole album, right?
Yeah, I wrote No Mercy. I wrote
You, Sex
I wrote
Action.
I wrote Sex Action, but that's not my title. That's an embarrassing title. I never would have called a song Sex Action.
What was the title for Sex Action?
It was called Love and Hate, and I wrote the entire song. I actually wrote the song a few years before I was even in that band. It was a good song. Actually, that's the song I wrote that it got rejected. I tried to introduce it to the band twice, and they didn't want to do it. And then I was off playing it in a corner at a rehearsal studio when Polygram showed up, to see us, and they go, "Well, who wrote that song?" And I said, "Well, it's one of my old songs." And they said, "Okay, well, we're definitely gonna sign the band now, and that's gonna be our first single. That's gonna be your first single."
So is that the one that got you guys the record deal? LA Guns the deal?
Yeah, locked in the deal for us.
So did you get seen when LA Guns got signed? Did they see a live show first, or you were sending out demo tapes?
They'd seen a live show. I think, yeah, they'd heard our demos, but they said they didn't hear a single yet, and they were sending me to see, they were making me go see like bands like their bands with like Bon Jovi and Cinderella, and they're saying we need you to write party songs like this, and I said, write songs I want to write.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I showed them that one, and they said, "Okay, that's going to be your first single. We're going to sign the band."
So what were you listening to back then when you were writing these songs? What was your influence, like, from those type of?
Well, I kind of stopped listening to music in the 1980s. I mean, I did. There were some bands I liked, but really all the stuff I listened to was in the 60s, 70s, even 50s and 40s. But I took a lot of stuff from like jazz and everything. I like all kinds of music, and heavy metal was one of the ones that I didn't like it very much at all. And I was always in fear of becoming a metal band, because I thought that would lock you into that genre where you never pull out of it. And so when I had LA Guns together, I was trying to do a punk version of the Rolling Stones, and it was very difficult. We finally had, Tracy left the band for a while, and then we had Robert Stoddard from Dogs and More.
So it was stayed LA Guns without Tracy Guns in the band.
Yeah, so we went for a couple of years without Tracy in the band. We had a guy named Robert Stoddard, and he was like kind of a Keith Richards style player, and plus he sang, and plus he was a good songwriter in his own right. He wrote some great songs. So I had, with Robert, I had somebody that could do backup singing, because I liked having harmonies. I like melody, I like harmony, I like rhythm. So it was a great band. It was kind of more along the lines of what I wanted to do, which was a punk version of the Rolling Stones. It wasn't at all, not the least bit metal.
So it wasn't about loud guitar solos.
No.
But it's so weird, because Tracy's more like into the Michael Schenker kind of playing. Was he like, when you were writing with him, because he's all like, that type of player, more than.
Yeah. I was always trying to get him to tone down. I didn't like that hot dog style playing. I liked like the Chuck Berry double stops and blues, Keith Richards style. So that's, so we were kind of like working against each other musically. It wasn't really a good match.
Bumping heads with each other. But
yeah,
the drummer, your drummer was that Nicky Beat on drums? The original LA Gun?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Nicky Beat was on drums.
Wow, I like hearing all these stories. You know what? I'm gonna do. See, everybody, you're watching this. I'm gonna do a whole thing with Paul on Talking Wax, because Paul has new vinyl coming out, and I don't want to mix it all up. But first of all, for real estate deals, I'm gonna put the link for him in here, so you guys could, any questions about the market, you could reach out to Paul. Paul will be happy to talk to you about that.
And I'm an expert in the mountain market.
The mountain market. That's what we need to know. Now, Debbie asked a question, because everybody wants it. Paul, do you hunt your own food like Ted Nugent?
No, I'm very much against hunting animals.
I don't like it. I can't. I don't. I'm not. Thanksgiving. I have a problem with Thanksgiving, Paul. The turkey. It bothers me to see it getting prepped, and I can't eat it. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm an animal lover. I mean, I do eat meat somewhat, but I don't go kill it.
I can't.
And even fishing. I kind of have a problem with, like, the idea of fishing and stuff is kind of fun, to me,
Mhm.
because as a kid I did it, and it's a sport. But on the other hand, it's like just to, I would like just let the fish go. But even that, just catching them, it's like I don't even like that anymore.
I'm having a hard problems. I'm having a hard problems the older I get, and now I don't even know what to eat. I have a hard time.
I guess it's just
It's really
yeah.
hard, man. It's really hard. Okay, really quick, Paul, because I want to talk more LA Guns. The other day, I called you from a record store. I went and I found this EP, LA Guns, but you weren't on this. It was black and white. It said LA Guns, LA Guns, LA Guns, but it was a different thing. I didn't even know who this guy was.
I think that was Mike Jacobs, maybe, and it was like there's a version of LA Guns that was like a high school version, that a friend of ours, Raz, um, uh, I forgot his last name. A guy named Raz. He was in a wheelchair. He had a bunch of money
I
from starting a
remember
lab.
Raz in a wheelchair. He had a rehearsal studio in
Yeah,
LA.
so he was a high school friend, and he backed the band, and then that band broke up. Okay, but he put a bunch of money. Like he bought a van that said LA Guns, LA Guns, LA Guns on the side. He had matchbook covers. He had bumper stickers. He had T-shirts all made up. And so when I was putting LA Guns together, it wasn't supposed to be called LA Guns. So I had the name Faster Pussycat that I was using. And it was me, Mick Cripps, and then me and Mick Cripps were putting a band together called Faster Pussycat. And then we hooked up with Tracy Guns and Nikki Beat, and we just kind of formed a band. We just kind of went and did a gig just to see how it went. And it went over really well. So we decided to keep that together as a band. But then Raz asked us to reuse it, to drop the name Faster Pussycat and use the name LA Guns, because he said, and kind of bribed us. He said, look, I have a van. I still have this leftover van that says LA Guns on it. I have bumper stickers. I have matchbook covers. I have T-shirts. I have all this promo material that's not being used. Plus, I'll pay for your first demos I'll put you in the studio. You can pay for your first demos if you use the name LA Guns. So we thought, well, we kind of need, we're poor musicians. We kind of need the promo. We need musicians, and it's kind of a name that's already kind of got a little start. We'll just use the name LA Guns. So we dropped the name Faster Pussycat.
Now, the Faster Pussycat asked you, hey, can we use that name since you're not using it?
No, they just did it, and we didn't have
They
it
just did it.
copyrighted. We didn't contest it because we were going forward with the name LA Guns. In retrospect, I think it was a really bad move on my part to drop the name and just, because I like the name Fast Pussycat better than LA Guns, honestly.
Oh, okay, I always get mixed up now. Axl Rose was in LA Guns. So who was there first? Were you there before Axl, then Axl after you? How's it?
I think Axl was there for a short time before me.
He was before
and then,
you.
Yeah, and then he was in Hollywood Rose. I don't know the full story about
So was
exactly.
Axl part of the Raz situation? Like Raz was working with Axl? Was that?
I think Raz knew Axl. Yeah, they're all kind of in the same circle.
It's such a crazy circle, huh?
Yeah, and I
What
was
about
kind of in the mix.
it's all over the place.
Guns N' Roses. Rob Gardner had left. I was actually playing in a band called the Joneses. I was playing drums in the Joneses, and we were playing on bills with Guns N' Roses, who were just kind of starting out. But Rob Gardner had just left the Joneses, and Guns N' Roses was trying to get me to fill in and leave the Joneses and come to join LA Guns. But then they got Steve Adler, which was a good. I
Steven
like
Adler.
Steve. Yeah, Steven Adler. I thought he was
Now,
a good drummer.
the great drum. Now the Joneses, they were the band before Guns N' Roses that everybody wanted to be. The Joneses, they were like the New York Dolls, Johnny Thunders type. One more Johnny Thunders, Jeff Drake, the singer.
Yeah.
They were like going to be they were going to be the next big thing. The Joneses.
Yeah, there was like open guitar tunings and slide and real kind of a trash rock. I wouldn't describe them as metal at all. They were like
they were Johnny
rock.
Thunders, rock and roll.
Yeah, it was kind of
the
a
Heartbreakers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a little bridge between the punk rock scene, and what kind of became the glam metal scene. But we were not trying to be metal at all. We were Johnny Thunders, trash rock.
So everybody like in this, like when they all came, like Izzy, everybody came to LA. The Joneses were playing. They were like the big band that everybody, wow, this is the type of thing we need to be.
Yes.
Okay, but Jeff Drake ended up robbing a bank, right?
Yep. with his finger, or no,
With
with a
his
comb. I think it was.
So the singer of the Joneses, the guitar player, everything was going good for them. Were they going to get
Yeah.
signed? Did they have any record companies back then?
Well, Geffen was supposed to sign us. Yeah, and that's the reason I stayed in town, because I had just left the Mau Mau's and I was getting ready to go back to school and get my music degree. I
Uh-huh.
thought, I don't want to be. I was kind of done with Hollywood at that time. That was like 1983. I was just leaving the Mau Mau's, and I was a little disappointed because the Mau Mau's were really popular, but we just couldn't hold it together because there was
I
just,
remember the Mau Mau's.
there was so much drug addiction in the band and we just couldn't. Every time we started a record, just would never get finished. So I was I was kind of done with LA, and I was gonna go back. I was gonna go back home and just go to school and get my music degree. But then Scott Franklin, who was a bass player with me in the Mau Mau's, had joined the Joneses, and he said, "Look, we're gonna get signed to Geffen." He goes, "Why don't you stick around just for a few months at least and just see how this goes?" And so I joined the Joneses as a drummer, and we all lived in a house in Venice, California, down by the beach.
Yeah.
And again, it was like a lot of drugs and stuff, but we had some really fun shows. Really,
It was a whole
we
scene going on down then.
yeah, it was a whole scene. It was like real. We had big audiences and stuff, and we had Danny Sugarman, who used to manage the Doors, was managing us, and
I didn't know that.
Ra-
Really? Danny Sugarman was managing you guys? Wow.
yeah, and Ray Manzarek, I think, was going to produce us for a while, and then Steve Jones was thinking about producing us.
From the Sex Pistols.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, and he showed up at the music machine when we were playing one day, and he said, "Hey, I'm supposed to get in, but I can't get in." And I go, "Oh." He goes, "I'm Steve Jones. I'm thinking about producing you guys." And I go, "Okay, let me." I had to walk him in and down at the music machine in Santa Monica. Um, but yeah, he nothing ever worked out. There was a lot of talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about what they were going to do with us. And Ray Manzarek, I think, was just
Did Ray Manzarek see the danger zone with you guys? Like say, hey, I had Jim Morrison and this is not going to last long. Did he try to advise you guys on anything?
No. I think the most talking I heard was from Danny Sugarman, but nothing he ever talked about came about or came true. So we ended up we just ended up kind of feeling like he was full of shit. So we just
You thought
we
Danny
went.
Sugarman was full of shit or Ray Manzarek?
No, Danny Sugarman. We kind of thought it was a lot of coke talk.
Was
Like
Danny was he partying back then, Sugarman?
we think so. I don't know. I
With
think
the
so.
name
I don't.
Sugarman.
Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't really have. I was just a drummer. I kind of stayed in the background back in those days. So I didn't really pay
Did you
much
not want to
attention.
ask him any Jim Morrison questions or what? No, you didn't care?
No, I was a lot more shy back then. As a matter of fact, I was very shy uh, all through high school and college, and the reason I wanted to be a drummer is because I could be the center of a rock and roll band, but not have to speak, not have to talk,
Look.
and I could just kind of hide out back there.
Well, okay, let
What
me ask you something.
what
Look,
did, what
because
did she say?
she says, look at Stefan. Debbie says I'm a Yanter. Okay, I got to ask you a question because we're on a podcast. We're on iHeart, Apple, all this good stuff. I need to know stuff. Okay, so here you got the Joneses, Guns N' Roses, before they were Guns N' Roses. Once, Axl sees it, Izzy sees it. The people who everybody knows of today. They don't know about the other bands that inspired them to be these big bands. That's why I'm talking about this. So Jeff Drake, here he is. He has a band. They're selling out the crowd. The popular Hollywood band. He was he popular when he went into the bank? What was he doing? He went with his finger into a bank. Were you in the
Yeah,
band?
no, by this time the Joneses had kind of fizzled out. I mean, they were kind of a underground cult thing, but I don't think he had a band together. He was kind of down and out, broke. I think
So the
he was
band was
kind of
over. The band's over.
the band was over. I think he was somewhere in Orange County. He actually told me the story, and if I can remember right, it went like this. And I'm sure it's changed and stuff with everybody
Tell
that
me,
heard
maybe
the story.
Blabbermouth will pick this up. Tell us about what happened. Come on.
So the way that Jeff told it to me was, if I remember right, is he was kind of like he was like really down and out. He was jonesing and kind of strung out, and he was basically had nothing left, and was he was at somebody's house, or somehow he was stranded somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Orange County, and he was
Yeah.
sitting on on a park bench. Are you there?
I'm here. I just made,
Oh,
and you're talking. I'm making you the
oh,
star
okay.
of the show. Yeah.
You disappeared from the screen.
Well, I'm here.
So he was somewhere sitting on a park bench, and it was like, I think it was, he said it was hot and everything. He wasn't even thinking about it, and he looked behind him, and there was a bank, and he wanted to get high, so he had a, I think he had a comb or something in his pocket, or
He was
finger
just
or
sitting
something.
he was sitting on a bench, didn't plan
Yeah,
out a robbery. He
no,
ran out of money to buy drugs.
he wrote out. He had sunglasses on, and he walked into the bank. He wrote a note for them to give him his money. He didn't even say anything on the note that I have a gun or anything like that. He just wrote a note saying, give me all your money. And he had sunglasses on, and he just handed it through the teller window. And he just kept his hands in his pocket to imply that maybe he might have something. And they gave him all the money. And
Oh,
he
they
just
gave him
walked,
the money. They gave him the money.
and he casually walked out, got in a cab, and went to his apartment. And he had all, he said, oh no, the
Did he
first
have,
thing
wait,
he
hold
did
on.
is
Did he have a disguise? Was he all rocked out or just normal,
he,
not
he
mask?
just he just had sunglasses on, according to him. Just had sunglasses on, kept his hands in his pocket, and handed him a note saying, give me your money. And then so I think the first thing he did is he got in a cab. He came out of the bank, got in a cab, and went to his dealer and just bought a whole bunch of heroin. And then he went to his house, and he spread the money all over the floor and everything. And then he cooked up got a needle, cooked up some dope, and I guess there was a tracer on the money, but he said he just stuck the needle in his arm, and he was just injecting it when the cops busted down the door and busted him. So
Oh,
he
wow.
just got high. They busted him. They got the money back and
So,
all the dope. And
so
everything.
he got his fix. He accomplished the goal that he was doing. He had to get
Yeah,
high. He
yeah.
shot it up. The cops break in. The needle he just pulled out of the arm and they take him away.
I guess. I mean, I don't know exactly where the needle was at, or
What a
but
crazy story.
yeah.
You can't, that's like a movie. Paul, that's a
I should
crazy,
write a book.
you should write a book. I'm going to get every story from you on this show. That's it. Before you go on other people's shows, I need to get the exclusive. So now the Joneses, which Cleopatra Records put out a beautiful box set of Hollywood Rocks, it's called. And they're in that. So are you, I believe.
Yeah,
Do you know about that? Okay, because another person you go after. But no, Cleopatra has this beautiful box set of way the Hollywood scene was, the strip. Because that's just one little story we just went over. That's
yeah.
crazy. That's
One of
wild.
many.
How many years did he go to jail for?
I think like 3 years, maybe. I don't know.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with him now?
Nah,
No. That's
he's
it.
he's just become a sour,
He
ornery man.
he was a good songwriter, I gotta tell you. For back then,
Yeah,
he
he
had
was
some
a
cool
a
songs.
good.
Now you weren't really writing back then. You were just happy being a drummer.
Oh, I wrote. Yeah, I wrote like crazy. It's just from a drumming point of view, it was hard to introduce
Yeah.
my songs to my band. Now, so I wrote when I was in the Mau Mau's, but so one of the stipulations that when Scott asked me to join the Joneses, I said, well, I got all these songs, and I'm kind of looking to do a band where I can put my songs in. Are they going to be okay with me introducing my songs? Oh yeah, yes, yeah. We want everybody to write, right? So I joined the band and tried to sit down and write songs with Jeff or introduce songs, and there was too much ego involved, and they weren't about to let the drummer write the songs. So that's why I started LA Guns, and I started trying to start a side band where I could just be the singer and introduce the songs from the singing point. But then I had to break out of my shyness, um, and I started introducing, and I first started a band. Actually, I hooked up with Mick Cripps, and we decided we were going to start a side band. So we
Big
started a
Crips
band
from LA
called,
Guns, the rhythm guitar player.
yeah, and we started. We first hooked up with a guy named Taz Rudd and his cousin Eric, and we were starting. And we had a bass player, and Taz Rudd was on guitar, and um, Actually, I was first playing drums in that band as well, but I still wanted to write the songs. So I was introducing the songs in this band, and we started a band called Shango, which later on became Shanghai, and and that band didn't last for me because um, the singer didn't like me singing, because when I was singing the songs for the singer so that he could get the melody and learn how to sing them, the rest of the band was saying, "Well, Paul, you should be the singer," and the singer that we had didn't like that, so we were butting heads in that. We're friends even to this day, but I think there was some kind of ego involved, so I realized that wasn't going to work out. But then me and Tracy went to a rehearsal and jammed with Mickey Beat and Tracy Guns. So we ended up leaving Shanghai, whatever it was called at the time. We ended up leaving that, and we started LA Guns. I think when I first jammed with Tracy and Mickey Beat and Mick, I introduced a couple songs of mine. One was a song called Winter's Fool, which actually made it to the debut album, but only on the Japanese version of it. So I showed him a song called Winter's Fool and a song called A Word to the Wise Guy, and a couple songs that I had back then. And then also we jammed on some Aerosmith and Mitch Ryder.
Mitch Ryder?
Wow. Mitch Ryder and what else? A couple Alice Cooper songs, and then that day, that very first day that we were rehearsing, we got a call from, or Nikki got a call from the owner of Cafe de Grand, and they said, "Look, we're closing down the club. Do you guys want to play the closing night of Cafe de Grand?" And Cafe de Grand was the biggest punk rock club in LA. It wasn't big, as in physically big, but it was the most popular place where all the punk rock gigs took place, and everybody hung out there. And a lot of people would just hang out in the back alley and drink 40 ounces and stuff rather than even go in the club. But it was the hangout for everybody. So anyway, we played closing night, and we played to like this eclectic group of like Mohawks and leather and bondage and metal, it just everything, and it was packed, and the show went over really well. And at that point we decided, okay, looks like we have a good thing going. Let's just keep this going.
Let's keep it going.
But then we dropped the name Faster for Scat and picked up the name LA Guns.
And that's when LA Guns happened, right there.
Yeah, that's when the new version of LA Guns.
Okay, now we're going to stop right there. We're going to stop right there because I want to do a part 2 with you. We're going to do a part 2 because it's the time. So we're going to end when LA Guns played this place. Cliffhanger. Any business with Nikki Sixx? And you ever met Nikki Sixx? Because we got Debbie asking. You met Nikki? Do you have any good stories of Nikki Sixx?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Part 2.
You want him now or
no? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do part 2. You and I are coming back. We're gonna continue from this show. Next on this show on Coffee Talk, we're gonna do a part 2, and we're gonna talk about Nikki Sixx, Paul and Nikki Sixx. Debbie, cliffhanger. We got it. Now we got Nikki. Look, that's it. Part 2, Paul Black and Nikki Sixx. But you can't talk about the Nikki Sixx story on no other platform, Paul, until we talk about it first.
So the Nikki Sixx story is exclusively for you.
That's right. That's right. It's only for Debbie, right?
Only for Debbie. Debbie, just for you.
Okay, that's what we're going to do. Part 2. Everybody, we're going to get out of here. It is that time, the witching hour. Paul, I'm going to give you a call. We're going to talk more. But in the meantime, I'm going to put links for Paul where you can buy Paul's music, listen to everything, old music, new music. I'll put it in our description. Just give me a second. I need everybody to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and I hope you really like it. And please, 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 everybody, your help, we need your help. So I need you to not only right underneath Paul's handsome face, subscribe, hit that bell to be reminded when we're coming on. Also, tell your friends about our show. It's really the place to be. It's an ultimate.
Everybody.
Paul, tell them.
Everybody. Tell everybody.
And if you're looking for a real estate agent, Paul Black. He'll have stories, and he'll get you the house you want and you need, because that's what it's all about. Happy life, happy wife, happy everybody. Everybody. Paul, thanks. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Let's do let's put our mugs in the air. It's the last sip of the day. As always, my cup is empty. And you know what that means, Paul? The show is over.
The end of Coffee Talk. Hey, thanks for having me on, Stefan. I appreciate you. And I'll see you soon.
I love you, Paul. Thank you very much. We'll get out of here. I'll let you get back to work. One of the good people in rock and roll. We're going to talk about Paul's vinyl. It's coming out too. When is that vinyl coming out, Paul?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to come out April 16th. It's going to debut at Record Store Day in the UK. And it's the best thing I've ever done. You have to get it. It's an awesome record. It's everything I've always wanted to do in music.
Okay. We're going to showcase that record here. We got to.
Okay. The record's called Everybody Rains on My Parade. And yeah, we'll do a debut listening party or something maybe.
Hey, Paul, really quick before I let you go, can you think not this Saturday, but next Saturday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, would you want to co-host a special game show with us? Be my co-host on the vinyl game show. Would you do that with me?
Sure. Yeah.
On Talking Wax?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. I'm going to call you later. Everybody, check out Paul's music. Paul's part of the family. You guys are wonderful. We love you. Until then, everybody, we will see you later. Paul, I'll call you later. Mwah. We are out of here, children. Bam.
Bye.
It's Coffee Talk with ADIKA. Nothing rhymes with that but chicken tikka. We name drop here with Stefan and all his friends.
Now, stop watching. Let's go to the mall. Let's go do something. Christmas is around the corner. So get somebody something special they might need for the holidays. But you can always get something like this or maybe something like that. And if you can't get that, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Artist on Record, ADIKA Live, 2 different platforms, 2 different shows. I love you. Down here is something good for everybody to click on. Until then, we'll see you next week. I love you all.